My husband said, "My ex is joining us for Christmas dinner. Be mature about it." I nodded. Of course. What he didn't know was that I invited his ex's fiancée, too. The dinner table turned into a scene nobody in my family will ever forget. Hey everyone, before we continue, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you enjoy hearing stories like this one. Thanks a lot. I'm Vanessa, 29, and I've been married to my husband, Derek, for 3 years. This Christmas was supposed to be like every other, my parents hosting, my brother and his kids running around, good food, the usual family chaos, until 2 weeks before the holiday when Derek dropped a bomb that changed everything. We were in the kitchen on a Tuesday night. I was making pasta. He was scrolling through his phone, and out of nowhere he said, "So, I invited Marissa to Christmas dinner at your parents' place." I stopped stirring. "Marissa? Your ex? Marissa?" "Yeah," he said casually, not even looking up. "She's going through a rough time and doesn't have family in the area." I thought it would be nice. Let me give you context. Marissa is Derek's ex-girlfriend from college. They dated for 3 years, broke up about 6 months before he and I met. He's always maintained they're just friends and that their relationship ended mutually. I've met Marissa exactly twice. Once at a barbecue 2 years ago, and once at a charity event last spring. Both times she was polite, but had this weird energy around Derek. Like they shared inside jokes I wasn't part of. "You invited your ex to my family's Christmas dinner without asking me first?" I said slowly. He finally looked up. "Vanessa, don't be insecure about this. Marissa and I are friends. That's it. And before you start, yes, I already told your mom, and she said it was fine." That part stung. He'd gone to my mother before coming to me. "When did you talk to my mom?" "Yesterday. I called her to ask if we could bring an extra guest and explain the situation. She was totally understanding." I felt my jaw tighten. "Derek, that's not the point. You should have asked me first. It's weird to invite an ex to a family holiday." "It's only weird if you make it weird," he said, his tone getting sharper. "Marissa is going through a breakup, and I'm being a good friend. I need you to be mature about this." There it was, the "be mature" line, like I was a child throwing a tantrum instead of a wife whose husband just made a unilateral decision about our holiday plans. "Fine," I said. "She can come." He smiled. "Thank you. I knew you'd understand." I didn't understand, not even a little bit. But I nodded and went back to stirring pasta while my brain started working overtime. That night, after Derek went to bed, I did something I'm not proud of, but don't regret. I went through his phone. I know. Invasion of privacy, breach of trust, all of that. But something felt off, and I needed to know if my gut was right. What I found was worse than I expected. Derek and Marissa had been texting constantly, multiple times a day for the past 2 months. Nothing explicitly inappropriate, but the tone was way too familiar. Lots of inside jokes, lots of "remember when" messages, lots of him complaining about me. There was one message from 3 weeks ago that made my blood boil. "I miss what we had. Things were simpler." And his response, "I know. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we'd tried harder." I took screenshots, sent them to myself, deleted the evidence that I'd done so. The next day, I did some digging. Turns out Marissa hadn't gone through a breakup recently. She'd gotten engaged 4 months ago. I found her fiancé's Instagram pretty easily. His name was Caleb, and he seemed nice. Lots of photos of him and Marissa hiking, at restaurants, looking happy. There was even a photo from Thanksgiving with the caption, "Grateful for this woman and our future together." So, Derek had lied. Marissa wasn't going through a rough time. And if Caleb didn't know his fiancée was spending Christmas with her ex-boyfriend, well, that seemed like information he deserved to have. I created a burner Instagram account and sent Caleb a DM, kept it simple and factual. "Hi, Caleb. You don't know me, but I'm married to Marissa's ex-boyfriend, Derek. She invited him to spend Christmas with our family, and I thought you should know since from your posts, it seems like you two are engaged. If you want to talk, here's my number." He messaged me back within an hour. We moved to text. He had no idea Marissa was spending Christmas with Derek. In fact, Marissa had told him she was going to a work colleague's holiday party. Caleb was upset, but also grateful I'd reached out. We talked for about 30 minutes, and by the end of the conversation, I'd invited him to Christmas dinner, too. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Won't that be awkward?" "Probably. I said. But I'm tired of being lied to, and I think we both deserve to know what's really going on. He agreed. The next week was normal on the surface. Derek talked about Christmas plans, what dishes we should bring, whether we should exchange gifts with Marissa. That last part almost made me laugh. I just nodded along, playing the mature wife he wanted me to be. Christmas Eve, Derek was in a great mood. He kept texting Marissa about timing and logistics. I heard him on the phone with her that night, confirming she'd arrive at my parents' house around 2 p.m. He was practically giddy. Christmas morning, we opened presents at home before heading to my parents' place. Derek got me a watch I'd mentioned months ago. I got him a necklace. We smiled and kissed and pretended everything was fine. We arrived at my parents' house around 1 p.m. My mom had gone all out. Full turkey spread, 3 types of potatoes, green beans, rolls, pies. My dad was watching football. My brother Matt was wrangling his 2 kids. It felt normal and warm, and I almost felt guilty for what I was about to do. Almost. Marissa showed up at 2:15 p.m. She brought wine and a charm that made my mom love her immediately. Derek lit up when she walked in, gave her a long hug that lasted about 3 seconds too long. I shook her hand firmly, smiled, and said, "Good to see you, Marissa." "Thanks for having me," she said. "I really appreciate it." We all settled into the living room. Marissa fit right in, laughing at my dad's jokes, asking my brother about his kids. Derek kept finding excuses to sit next to her, to touch her arm when he laughed. I watched it all with a calm I didn't actually feel. At 2:45 p.m., the doorbell rang. "I'll get it," I said, standing up quickly. I opened the door to find Caleb standing there in a red sweater, holding a bottle of wine, looking nervous but determined. "You must be Vanessa," he said. "Caleb," I said warmly. "Thanks for coming. Come on in." I led him into the living room. The reaction was instantaneous. Derek's face went white. Marissa literally stood up so fast she knocked over her beer. "Caleb," Marissa said, her voice cracking. "What are you doing here?" "I was invited," Caleb said calmly, looking at me. "Vanessa was kind enough to include me when she heard you'd be spending Christmas with your ex-boyfriend." The room went completely silent. My mom looked confused. My dad muted the TV. Matt's eyes went wide. "Vanessa," Derek said slowly, standing up. "What is this?" "This is Caleb," I said pleasantly. "Marissa's fiancé." "Marissa, I don't think you mentioned to Caleb that you were spending Christmas with Derek. And Derek, I don't think you mentioned to me that Marissa is engaged, so I thought we should all spend the holiday together. You know, be mature about it." I used his words. His exact words. Marissa looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. "Caleb, I can explain." "Explain what?" Caleb said, his voice shaking now. "Explain why you told me you were going to a work party. Explain why you're spending Christmas with your ex-boyfriend and his family without mentioning it to me. Explain why Vanessa had to be the one to tell me what you were doing." "It's not like that," Marissa started. "Then what is it like?" he shot back. Derek turned to me, his face red now. "Vanessa, this is insane. You invited her fiancé to embarrass me." "I invited him because he deserved to know where his fiancé was," I said calmly. "Just like I deserve to know that you've been texting your ex constantly and telling her you miss what you had." His face went from red to pale. "You went through my phone?" "I did," I admitted, "and I found a lot of interesting conversations. Want me to share them with everyone?" My mom finally spoke up. "What on earth is happening right now?" Matt was recording on his phone. I didn't stop him. Marissa tried to approach Caleb. "Baby, please let me explain. Derek and I are just friends. He was going through some stuff and needed support." "I wasn't going through anything." Derek snapped at her. "What are you talking about?" And just like that, their stories fell apart. Marissa claimed Derek needed emotional support. Derek claimed Marissa was the one going through a hard time. Neither story matched what they'd told other people. They were both lying and they'd been caught. Caleb looked at Marissa with disgust. "We're done. Completely done. Don't come home tonight. Don't call me. I'll have my sister pack up your stuff." He turned to me. "Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry I came to your family's Christmas, but I'm glad I know the truth." "You're welcome to stay for dinner if you want," my mom said quietly. And I loved her for that. Caleb shook his head. "I think I need to go, but thank you." He left. Marissa stood there frozen for a moment, then grabbed her coat and followed him out without another word. The door closed. Derek stared at me with a mixture of fury and humiliation. "I want a divorce," I said before he could speak. "I've already contacted a lawyer. You can stay at your brother's place until we figure out living arrangements." "Vanessa," he started. "No," I interrupted. "You brought your ex to my family's Christmas. You lied to me about why. You've been emotionally cheating on me for months. You made me feel crazy for being uncomfortable. So, no, we're done." He looked around the room at my parents, at Matt, at the dinner table set for a holiday that was now completely ruined. And I watched him realize he had no allies here. He grabbed his phone and left without another word. Update 1. Christmas dinner was awkward, but we got through it. My mom kept apologizing for not asking more questions when Derek called about bringing Marissa. My dad said I'd handled it well. Matt told me the video had already been shared with our extended family group chat, and everyone was on my side. I stayed at my parents' house that night. Derek texted me 17 times, ranging from angry to apologetic to pleading. I responded to one. "Talk to my lawyer." The next day, I went back to our apartment with my dad and sister-in-law to pack essentials. Derek wasn't there, but he'd left a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. Can we please talk?" I threw the note away. Update 2. A week later, I met with my lawyer. I had the screenshots from Derek's phone, which my lawyer said would be helpful. I also had documentation showing I'd paid for most of our shared expenses, which mattered for asset division. Derek moved in with his brother. He tried to reach out through mutual friends, asking them to convince me to give him another chance. Most of our friends sided with me once they heard the full story. A few said I'd been dramatic with the Christmas ambush, but honestly, I don't care. Caleb reached out to me a few days after Christmas. He thanked me again and confirmed he'd broken off the engagement. He said Marissa had tried to claim nothing physical happened between her and Derek, but the emotional affair was enough for him. He dodged a bullet, and so had I. Marissa apparently lost it after the breakup. According to mutual friends, she blamed Derek for ruining her relationship, and Derek blamed her for ruining his marriage. They're both right. Final update. It's been 2 months since Christmas. The divorce is moving forward smoothly because Derek doesn't want to fight it. I think he's embarrassed and just wants it over with. We're selling the apartment and splitting assets 60-40 in my favor since I paid for most of it. I've been staying with my parents while I look for a new place. It's been good. Lots of family dinners, game nights with my brother, quiet time to process everything. Derek sent me a long email last week. He apologized for everything. Said he'd been confused and made terrible choices, that he never physically cheated, but understood why I felt betrayed. He asked if someday we could be friends. I didn't respond. Maybe someday I'll feel differently, but right now, I just want him out of my life. Caleb and I got coffee last week. Not romantic, just 2 people who went through similar things comparing notes. He's doing well, starting therapy, focusing on himself. He thanked me again for reaching out and said if I'd stayed quiet, he might have married someone who would have kept choosing his ex over him. As for me, I'm doing okay. Some days are harder than others. I miss being married, but I don't miss being married to someone who didn't respect me. My family keeps joking that I won Christmas, and honestly, they're not wrong. That dinner table scene will be talked about for years. My mom already said, next Christmas I get to prove all guests. Edit 1. People keep asking if I feel bad about ambushing them on Christmas. Honestly, no. They chose to lie and sneak around. I just chose the timing of when the truth came out. If they didn't want to be embarrassed in front of family, they shouldn't have done embarrassing things. Edit 2. Matt's video didn't go viral or anything, but it's definitely been shared around our extended family and friend groups. Derek's mortified. Marissa apparently deleted all her social media. Caleb is living his best life, from what I can see on Instagram. Edit 3. Someone asked what my dad said when it all went down. After Derek left, he came over, put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Daughter, that was the most interesting Christmas we've ever had." Well done. Coming from my dad, that's basically a standing ovation. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments, drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories.